It took almost exactly 7 years, but I finally got to 100,000 subscribers. For some people's standards, it might not be too much, but in my opinion, it's pretty good. And one of the things I'm doing to celebrate it is this Q&A. I asked you guys to submit your questions, and you did submit quite a few. Alright, let's get right into the questions. I gotta warn you, I'll be fairly quick. Will you focus on other games in the future? And where do you live? Kind of two questions really. First one, of course I will. In fact, I'm focusing a little bit on Anthem and the next Far Cry game when they come out, which is in a couple of days. But what I'm really looking forward to this year is Warcraft 3 Remastered and potentially Cyberpunk, but I have a feeling Cyberpunk will be released next year. So Cyberpunk and Warcraft 3 is really what I'm looking forward to. Where do I live? I live in Bulgaria. I'm assuming you've read the books. If so, what do you think about them and so on? Actually, and I've said this before, I have not read the books. I was planning on reading them and buying them all, but then I saw the author's comments about the game and I really disliked them. You know, things like that the game is not art, that it lacks depth, that gamers are stupid and stuff like that. And so all of this gave me pause. I will probably read them sometime soon, but for the time being, I have not read the books. Where do you live? Which town? Now, I don't want to get into too much specifics here. I think I've said it on a live stream a long time ago, but let's just say it's somewhere in the central region of Bulgaria. Will you play the KOTOR games, and what time will you do the Star Wars The Old Republic Sith thing? A subscriber from Hungary, hello to Hungary. I have played the KOTOR games. I don't plan on making videos about them anytime soon. If by the Old Republic Sith thing you mean the large video, I'm working on it. I'm currently doing the Forged Alliances, so I'm like 2/3 down the road. Thank you for asking. Will you be playing Cyberpunk when it comes out? Of course I will. The first question is spoiling my part 2 of things you may have missed in Velen video, so I'm not gonna answer it. The second question, I loved it. I've next to nothing bad to say about it, except for the fact that it might cause trouble on YouTube because there is tons of swearing and nudity, and I'm afraid YouTube might not like the game, so I might be facing a ton of demonetization, but we'll see. But as for the reveal, I loved how they did the gameplay and story integration, and I just can't wait to see more of it. You mean what would I like to see in the next Witcher and what would I hate to see? I would like to see Nilfgaard, I suppose, more of Nilfgaard, perhaps even a Nilfgaardian protagonist, or at least a lot of things to do in Nilfgaard and with Nilfgaardians. I want to see that. What would I hate to see? Gosh, I don't know. I guess I'll hate it if there's no Nilfgaard. Will you be playing The Witcher 1? I've watched videos about it on YouTube, but when I tried playing it, it just feels too damn tedious. I'm not a fan of the gameplay, so probably not anytime soon. What are your top 5 favorite games? Boy, that's a question I can spend quite a lot of time answering, but to be quick, let's say 5 games, and this is not necessarily an ordered list, but I'm gonna say The Witcher 3, Warcraft 3, Dragon Age Origins, perhaps Vanilla WoW, but that is Vanilla WoW in Vanilla WoW times. So if I were to play Vanilla WoW today, I would most likely not list it in the top games, but back then I probably would. And the 5th, gosh, I don't know, Star Wars The Old Republic? Heroes of Might and Magic 3? I'm not sure. Who is your favorite woman in the Witcher games? Does Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales count as a Witcher game? If so, I'll probably say Queen Maeve. But if you insist on being from the Witcher games, like Witcher 1 to 3, I like Philippa for some reason, I suppose. Anna Henrietta, I guess? And Cerys? Maybe Cerys? That's a difficult question. If I'm in charge of the next Witcher game, who is the protagonist, what is the setting, any changes I will introduce, and what will I keep from previous entries? So, gosh, I don't know, probably another Witcher? Could be Ciri. I've seen people talking about Ciri being the protagonist. The setting, I would like something Nilfgaardian, as I mentioned. I would keep most of the things they had in The Witcher 3. Something that needs improvement. Oh, perhaps the combat could be improved a little bit. The fall damage could be decreased. The mounted exploration, horse riding could be improved. I'll probably keep Gwent in there as well, maybe tweak the crafting a little bit, but I'm not really sure I want to remove something altogether. Perhaps introduce more gameplay and story integration, you know, story that is told through gameplay, not simply through the cutscenes, although there is that in The Witcher 3, but perhaps something in the likes of what we see in the Cyberpunk reveal. That could be interesting. What are your favorite games, books, films, TV shows? Games I've already talked about. I suppose I like the original Star Wars trilogy. Even if it's a little cliché, I really like those films. As far as TV shows and books go, gosh, especially since my daughter was born for the past several years, I don't think I've read a single book or paid attention to a single TV show, because I simply don't have enough time for that. I guess I liked Game of Thrones Season 1. I like some of the Warcraft books. Perhaps The Last Guardian would be my favorite among them. So I guess that's all I have. Your PC specs. My PC specs need upgrading because half of my computer is 4 years old and the other half is 5 years old. But it's basically Intel i7 4790, Radeon R9 290, and do I have 16 or 8 gigs of RAM? I think I have 16. So yeah, that's my PC. Where are you from and how do you make a living? I'm from Bulgaria, as I said, and I make a living by making videos on YouTube. Several years ago, when my YouTube channel wasn't big enough, I had a part-time job as a teaching assistant at the local university, but when my YouTube channel started growing, I left the university and dedicated myself to YouTube because, well, the pay from the university was just too low. I actually liked the job. Perhaps in the perfect world I would still be doing both part-time, but the world isn't perfect. What are your thoughts on the current Battle for Azeroth events in the lore? Generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of Battle for Azeroth as a whole. I think if they wanted to do this expansion, they should have done it before Legion. I don't think it makes too much sense, given what happened in Legion, for all of us to go at each other's throats all of a sudden. So, I mean, the events themselves are not too bad, I guess, but I don't know. You used Big Noodle titling, Overwatch font. Do you play Overwatch anymore? Is that really the Overwatch font? Yeah, I think it probably is. You know, I didn't realize that. Was I not using it before Overwatch? Gosh, I don't know. No, I don't play Overwatch anymore, sadly. Do you like tomato sauce? I do. I like fresh tomatoes as well. What is your favorite Blood and Wine ending? Now that's actually a difficult question. I am not sure which one. I can't tell who should die. Should it be Syanna or should it be Dettlaff? I'm not exactly sure who deserves it more. And one of them has to die. So I'm willing to say that Anna Henrietta does not deserve death, but I don't know. How about a stream for 100,000 subscribers? Hi Brickbreaker, nice to see you as well. He was one of my most loyal viewers back in the days when I used to stream, and those were good days. It's just that unfortunately, streaming is something that I always wanted to do, but I was never good enough. And it never really got anywhere, so that's why I stopped. I just think my time is better spent making videos from a simple practical perspective. But who knows, I'll consider it, and maybe one of the 100,000 subscribers special videos will be a live stream. Team Yen or Team Triss? That's the million-dollar question. Unfortunately, I'm not really part of one of those teams. I like both of them for different reasons, and it's genuinely difficult for me to decide which to romance. I mostly tend to disagree with the people who dislike Triss, and also disagree with the people who dislike Yen, so there we go. Can you believe you have a subscriber from Turkey? Yeah, Turkey is a neighboring country, why not? Will I play The Witcher 1? I already answered that. Kingdom Come Deliverance is something I considered heavily but never really found the time to get into it. As for the Crisis trilogy, unfortunately I don't have any current plans for that. When did you start gaming? I started gaming when I was about 5 years old, and it was on a PC, believe it or not. It didn't even have Windows. I think it had a 66Hz or 60 something Hz CPU, and it was only like a year afterwards that I got my one and only console until now, believe it or not. It was the 8-bit NES, and it was then when I played, you know, Super Mario and all that. So from a very early age. How many hours do I have in the Witcher games? Probably have about 100 in Witcher 2 and about 600 in The Witcher 3. What's your opinion when you first played The Witcher 3? Do you mean when I first started playing it or when I finished it? When I started playing it, I had pretty much no expectations, but when I finished it, I was amazed. My 3 favorite characters in The Witcher 3. Gosh, I like so many characters in The Witcher 3. They're all so well written and fleshed out. It's just difficult to pick 3. Perhaps I'll pick one of the main game, one of the first expansion, and one of the second expansion to make things easier on myself. From the main game, let's say Dijkstra, from Hearts of Stone, Olgierd, and from Blood and Wine, Rages. You like jazz? Not that much. Draw My Life, not really a question, but a decent suggestion. It's something I thought about. The problem is I am terrible at drawing. So probably not. Already said how many hours I've spent in The Witcher 3. How many times have I beat the game? From start to finish, actually not that many times. 4, I think, but I've replayed certain sections of it a million times. A Witcher 3 speedrun for the milestone, well, I was considering that as well, believe it or not, but you know what, I've never done a speedrun, and my daughter wants to enter the room. Какво има? Искаш да чуеш нещо или да кажеш нещо?
Да кажа.
Да кажеш? Добре. Какво ще кажеш?
Какво да кажа?
Ами, я да видим какъв е следващия въпрос. Чакай, не пипай това. Do you have a favorite side quest and have you found every single side quest? I'm not sure whether I found every single side quest, but I have several favorite ones. Let's pick the one I mentioned in the video where I talked about crying while playing the game, so the Black Pearl, I suppose. Мила, я кажи The Black Pearl.
The Black Pearl.
Долу горе. Добре, хайде сега кажи bye-bye и...
Bye-bye.
Добре, хайде отивай.
Има човек.
Моля?
Има човек.
Има човек, да. Right, next question. What's your favorite scene, moment from The Witcher 3? Oh, there are a lot. Once again, I can point to the video of things that made me cry, but, I don't know, favorite scene. Vesemir's funeral, I think, is a very powerful scene. So, let's say that. Would you play Vampire 2? Yes, I would. And I think that was one of the more underrated games of 2018. Can you see if you can kill leaders in Assassin's Creed Odyssey if they're story relevant before they naturally die during the story? To be honest, I'm not really in the mood of playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. I was really surprised when I heard you talking Bulgarian with your family. I was wondering if you're from Bulgaria. I already said that, and he also says Zdravey, which means hello. Why not do a live stream of a game of your choice and maybe just thinking about allow certain subscribers to join you? That is exactly the kind of thing that I used to do back in the day, and I did it for quite a while. It was called Playing With You, and it was these live streams where I would just play with my viewers and subscribers. And it was fun. So, I don't know, maybe I'll do it again. Will you make the walkthrough of The Witcher 3 expansion on Monster Hunter? I would love to see it on your channel. I've never played Monster Hunter, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. I don't think I've ever heard of it before this expansion, and several people have asked this same question, so for now the answer is no, but who knows? Do you think there will be more games like Thronebreaker? I, for one, loved Thronebreaker. It was probably my favorite game of 2018. Sadly though, similar to Vampire, yeah, marketing and general popularity were really low. I want to see more Witcher Tales games, but I'm not sure if there's gonna be any more. And if there isn't, it will be super unfortunate. Triss or Yennefer or Shani if you can. I already kind of answered about Triss or Yennefer, and I think I prefer them two over Shani. What was your first story-driven RPG? Mine was Fallout 2. My father was a gamer, so I kinda inherited the hobby. Does Baldur's Gate count? If that counts, it's probably Baldur's Gate. If you're talking about something more akin to The Witcher, for example, then probably the first KOTOR game. Also, it's great to hear about your father. I hope my daughter says the same thing one day. Does anyone know what happened to the last crone, or if it's explained in the books? I don't think it is, because the books come before the games. As far as I know, in all other endings, she survives? I actually don't know, I should probably look into that. what are your 3 favorite characters slash creatures from The Witcher 3? Already talked about characters, but what about creatures? Top 3 favorite creatures. Higher vampires, succubi, and godlings. Which crone is the sexiest and why? That has got to be Wispess, for obvious reasons. What's one choice you hate having to make in The Witcher 3? One that no matter how many times you've played it, you always have to force yourself to do. Probably 2 choices off the top of my mind. One is, like I said, the Blood and Wine ending, who should die, Dettlaff or Syanna, and the other one is whether or not to let Roach die so that you can let Dijkstra rule the North. Which one of the Witchers is your favorite and why? That would be Witcher 3. Why? Well, because it has a ton of content and all of it is awesome. Haven't read the books? How do you feel about the author's greedy claims on CD Projekt Red? I feel like he should be ashamed of himself. Pretty much the same question for a difficult choice, but this time in general. It was difficult for me to decide what to do with Morgan during the Dark Ritual. Some of you might laugh, but it was for me. Also, in Mass Effect 2, whether or not to rewrite the Geth Heretics was difficult to make. So yeah, I guess I'll only mention these 2 for the time being. And which Witcher nation would you like to win under which leader and why? Probably Lyria and Rivia under Meve, Queen Meve, because I think she's awesome. Do you have other sources of income beside YouTube? No. In Witcher 3, do you play Gwent? If yes, which faction is your favorite? If no, why? I do play Gwent. Probably Monsters is my favorite faction because I think it's the coolest. Are traps gay? Now, believe it or not, the first time I heard this question, I was watching a Total Biscuit video and it was kind of on the background, I wasn't paying too much attention, and he was playing Hearthstone. He was doing one of the brawls or whatever they were called. And so he mentioned it, and the first thing that came to my mind was hunter traps. Are they talking about hunter traps in Hearthstone? But otherwise, I guess not, though there are probably some similarities. Where did the name Ex Letalis came from, and what is the font you use in your thumbnails? Ex Letalis is Ex Letalis because Letalis without an X was taken. Now where did Letalis come from? When we were probably 10 years old, my friends and I, we each had a favorite wrestler, and mine was The Undertaker. They also called him the Dead Man, and I would use either Undertaker or Dead Man as my nickname. Back then we were playing, I think the original StarCraft 1, and so that would be my nickname. Then later on, when I started playing Vanilla WoW, I wanted to use Dead Man as my nickname. However, it was taken as well, so I thought, let's pick something similar but maybe in Latin. And that's where the word Letalis came from. What is the font you use in your thumbnails? Let me check. I use the Big Noodle titling often, which apparently is a Overwatch font. Recently I've been using, what's it called? It is called Penumbra Sans. Yeah, Penumbra Sans. Already talked about my PC specs, and am I going to do a setup tour? I will do that when I upgrade my PC, not now. I shall not answer this question as it is spoiling my 5 things you missed in Hearts of Stone expansion. How old is Vesemir? About 1,000 years old. Do you prefer Ciri being a Witcheress or Empress and why? I prefer her being a Witcher, I think. I think that's what she would want more than anything. And honestly, from what I've learned and seen from Ciri throughout The Witcher 3, I don't think she's necessarily fit for a ruler of empires type of position. Pie or cake? Probably cake. Serious question, do you have a degree? If yes, what is it in? If no, did you go to college and drop out, so on and so forth? Yes, I do have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's degree in computer multimedia. Computer science is basically anything computer related, right? I've studied hardware and programming and math and more programming and more math, and multimedia is video editing, believe it or not, is part of it, but also the networking part of multimedia, you know, the transfer of multimedia data, the encoding and compression and that sort of thing. Oh, and believe it or not, I also taught similar things for a couple of years, to beginners albeit. What are the things that draw you to games and how long have you been gaming? Do you have any other hobbies? I've been gaming since I was 5 years old or so. Do I have any hobbies? I've always loved animals. I'm not sure if that counts as a hobby, but I've always had a cat and a dog. Right now I only have a cat, but usually I like both cats and dogs and I play with them. That's one. Another hobby that I don't really have time for recently is I play the piano, so I guess music in a way is a hobby as well. During the summer I sometimes go fishing with my family, and I guess that's it. I haven't read the books, so I don't know if the series will do the books justice. Otherwise, I don't really have any thoughts about it. I don't know how well it will do. Maybe once I watch it, then I'll share my thoughts about it. Already briefly talked about my thoughts on Cyberpunk. When do I think it's going to be released? I think if they announce the release date before E3, maybe it will release the end of this year. If we have to wait until E3, or God forbid later, then it's definitely in 2020. Have you finished both paths in The Witcher 2 and do I consider uploading them both? I haven't uploaded the whole thing, but I think I've made quite a decent amount of videos about both paths. Personally, even though you don't ask, I think I prefer the Yorveth's path. Can you make a video about how much you earn from doing YouTube? Well, income varies quite a lot. Just to give you an idea, I got roughly the same amount of views in December, January and February. Yet my December earnings were more than the January and February combined. So the first months of the year are usually terrible for earnings and December is usually awesome. I think you could say that I earn about, after my network takes its cut and taxes and all, maybe about 75 cents per 1,000 views as a vague average. Temeria, Redania or Nilfgaard? Temeria probably. Where do you live? Bulgaria. Where are you from? Bulgaria. How old is your daughter? 4 years old. Tell us more about yourself. Also, are you making 5 Things We Missed in Skellige, and what's your favorite contract from The Witcher 3? This should keep you busy. Favorite contract? Maybe Skellige's Most Wanted? 5 Things in Skellige is coming eventually. Next up we'll have Kaer Morhen, however. Tell us more about yourself. I mean, I think I've said a good amount for now, so I'll probably skip this part. Maybe I'll make another video at a later stage talking more about myself if people are interested. Top 5 games, already talked about that. Do you watch anime? No, I don't. But honestly, I hardly watch anything nowadays. Favorite part of the Witcher 3 map? Maybe the Crookback Bog? What is keeping you playing The Witcher 4? The Witcher 3? A 4-year-old game? Well, it's a combination of the fact that I love the game, I love the way it's written, I could just listen to its story and dialogue over and over and I don't get bored. I like the gameplay as well, and of course, I like making all these videos and interacting with you, talking to you about them, and yeah, those are the things that still keep me playing the game. How long have you been married? I believe it has to be 5 years. Yeah, we've been together 6 years, 5 of which as a married couple. What made you get into YouTube? I was interested in video editing even before I started YouTube, so I guess that was part of it, but the game that really made me want to record gameplay and publish it on YouTube and talk about it with viewers and all that was Star Wars: The Old Republic. And this was actually my very first video. Except for the thumbnail, back then we didn't have custom thumbnails. Do you like the Sorcerer or Assassin better in Star Wars: The Old Republic? A very difficult question because I actually like both. These are probably my 2 favorite classes. When it comes to tanking or DPS, I usually pick Assassin, and when it comes to healer, I pick Sorcerer. So then maybe the Assassin? You and your sister have strong accent. Where are you from? Bulgaria. Are you that faceless guy who watches me when I sleep? Well, I've shown my face, so that's probably not me. What is your favorite food? Oh, I love food. I love it so much. In fact, here's something I'll share about myself. I've been struggling with weight, with being overweight, pretty much my whole life. Over the past 5-6 years, I've been fairly successful at managing my weight, but basically I have huge appetite. If I eat as much as I want to eat, I'll probably weigh twice as much as I do. What food I like all food. Maybe Italian. Italian is pretty good. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? That was an inside job. Don't really have an opinion about the rest of the question. What are the numbers on your credit card? They are Arabic. Why do I get these when I'm not subscribed to you, nor do I watch you? Well, YouTube tends to do that. Sometimes I receive notifications about people's videos for months and months on end without ever watching a single thing from them. Perhaps because I make Star Wars The Old Republic videos occasionally and you have Darth Vader in your profile picture? My real name, I'm sure it's written somewhere on my channel, it's Plamen. It's a fairly common name in Bulgaria, but fairly uncommon elsewhere. Witcher 4 theme, I hope, will be Nilfgaard. Zoltan, Dandelion or Roach, and why? Probably Zoltan because of the way he speaks. Is there a way to kill the third witch, I assume you mean Crone, in the best ending of The Witcher 3? I don't think so. What's your wife's favorite color? I think it's either pink, like bright pink, or bright blue. I think those are her two favorite colors. Ever considered turning your channel into Witcher content only? Yeah, I've considered many such things. Back in the day, I considered making it Star Wars The Old Republic only, Dragon Age only, Witcher 3 only. I don't know, to be honest, I'm not sure how YouTube will react. It might be beneficial in terms of less subscribers leaving, larger portion of my subscribers watching my new videos, but overall, I'm not sure. Probably not. Are you religious or anything that inspires you except family? I'm not religious. Anything that inspires me? I guess pretty much everything that you can tell has love and caring and genuine desire invested in it inspires me. When will you stop posting Witcher 3 videos? Never? Are you secretly a frying pan? I'm not a big fan of frying, I guess. So maybe I'm secretly an oven? How old are you? I will be 30 years old, a couple of weeks or so after making this video. Would you rather kill Radovid or Gontar O'Dim? Radovid is more annoying, but Gontar O'Dim is most likely a bigger long-term threat, so maybe Gontar O'Dim? Where do I live? Which town? Already answered that. And which destination do you want to visit? I think I want to visit the pyramids, perhaps, in Egypt. And maybe North America, like I think there are a lot of beautiful sites in North America. How much do you enjoy these videos, honestly? What's been your favorite one so far? I do enjoy making these videos a lot. In fact, my wife has sometimes criticized me that I'm too obsessed or that I talk too much about my videos, but I do it because I'm so excited and so thrilled with them. I usually don't make videos that I don't like making, obviously. Some videos I kind of have to make, but for example, I stopped making videos about Fallout 4 halfway through the game simply because I didn't enjoy it. And the game, if you look at YouTube, has a large audience. There are so many popular videos about it, so maybe I could have generated a lot of views from these videos, but I just couldn't. So I do honestly enjoy making these videos very much. My favorite ones, I did like my legacy videos way back in the day. Recently, probably the 5 things you may have missed in the Witcher 3 series have been my favorite ones. Thoughts on the Old Republic, future and current state? Been following you since one of your first Old Republic streams. See, there's a person who can vouch that I used to stream. Thank you very much, Riffy, for following me, and nice to see you here once again. My thoughts about it were pretty grim before Jedi and the Siege, but now they are fairly hopeful, and I'm positive. Do you plan to read the Witcher books? Yes. Favorite moments from the Witcher series? I already talked about Witcher 3, so let's talk about Witcher 2 in this question. Off the top of my head, the death of... what was his name? Oh my god, the elf, I can't remember his name. Cedric, was it? Early on, when King Foltest is assassinated, that's an awesome scene. The Triss romance scene in the Elven Ruins is also pretty good. Probably my favorite, quote, sex scene in video games. But that's mostly because of the scene, not so much because it's with Triss. Already talked about the first part. Should you do a second playthrough? Yes. Be honest, which game was the best, Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age Inquisition, and why? Also, the Dreadwolf Rises, would you prefer the game to be more based on Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age Inquisition? I definitely prefer Origins. I definitely prefer Origins as well. Dragon Age Inquisition had too many side quests that need to be improved, too much dialogue that was out of cutscenes, that wasn't very well presented, and it didn't have origins, and Liliane did not want to tell tales, and yeah. Did you play The Witcher 3 with The Witcher 3 Enhanced Edition mod? I think I haven't. I want to see your family or family photo if that's okay. I should be showing it right now. Which one of the Witchers would you choose to be with if it were up to you? I don't know. Geralt is pretty cool, but then again he does get in very dangerous situations, so maybe it's not that good to be with him. Maybe Vesemir? When will you do a face reveal? Just look in the middle of my channel art. Which woman in the Witcher series you wish you had a romance option with? Or something. Nudge nudge, Anna Henrietta wink wink. Yeah, Anna Henrietta, she's a bit of a bitch, but at the same time I like her. So why not? Otherwise maybe Cerys? Why did you go for Triss and not Yennefer in your first playthrough? I don't really have any big reasons. I liked Triss when I met her in Novigrad and did all the quests with her. I ended up romancing her, and I guess I just didn't want to cheat on her. So I think that's the reason. What is your favorite Witcher school? Probably that of the cat. I like the gear, and I kind of like the cat as a symbol of Witchers, I guess. You could play other games to get more views. Why are you still playing that game? Yeah, I've played Vampire, that got a ton of views. I've played Tomb Raider, that was a huge hit. So, yeah, I'll definitely keep playing other games. If you had the power to change a thing in The Witcher 3, what would you change and why? I would change one thing. You know the quest where Yennefer steals the mask of Urboros and unleashes the storm and all that? And then Geralt puts the mask and sees visions of what happened. There is a certain point there where he sees a shape of a woman and he says, "This is Ciri." And Yennefer's like, "How can you tell?" And Geralt's like, "It's her because she moves like a witcher." Nothing wrong with that line. I mean, he was the one who instructed Ciri, so it would make perfect sense for him to recognize the way she moves. Except that in the actual scene, the only thing you see the woman doing is walking. So she sways her hips as a witcher or what? I think if instead they showed her doing some kind of pirouette or dodge or just blocking an attack, he would be like, "Oh yeah, she's fighting like a witcher, she's moving like a witcher, so that's her." Instead they just show her walk. Am I ever going to finish the game using the beginning game stuff like the care more and armor? Maybe if I feel like it, who knows. What spiritual or psychological meanings do video games have for you? I know that's probably too long of a question, or requires too long of a response. Never really thought about it, especially spiritual. Like, what spiritual meaning do games have for me? I don't think they have any. I don't know, I do get very excited when I play games. Like I said, I've cried when playing The Witcher 3 a few times. I've, role-played in MMOs. I've done some poor attempts at fanfiction in the Old Republic, so not sure how to describe it, but they definitely have a strong impact on me. Who was the most relatable character in the Witcher series for you? Maybe the Bloody Baron? I hope you guys don't think that I get drunk and beat my wife, but yeah, he was an amazingly written character. Already talked about the games. What kind of music do you like? I like game soundtracks. I like a large variety of music. Back in the days when I was at school, I would listen to Nightwish fairly often, like old school Nightwish. If you wanted a name of a band or something, there's one. What is the average airspeed velocity of an unladen? I don't even know that word. European swallow. I think they're fairly quick, but I'm not sure. Believe it or not, I didn't choose this question on purpose, it just came next. What is the speed at which my heart broke after the worst ending? It could probably rival that of the swallow. Which one of the secret endings to the Wild at Heart quest was your favorite and why? I assume you mean the secret cutscenes? Well, neither, I suppose. They're all kind of sad, aren't they? Are you more excited to play The Witcher 3 again or play Cyberpunk for the first time? Well, definitely Cyberpunk. How many times have you played Witcher 1? None. Witcher 2? Twice. Witcher 3? 4 times, I think. Did I choose Roach or Yorveth on my first playthrough, and which do I prefer? I think I prefer Yorveth's path. And not so much because I prefer Yorveth to Roach necessarily, I just liked Philippa and Saskia. Oh, and of course the dwarves. Will you play Gwent Homecoming? Your question makes it sound like it hasn't come out yet, but it did alongside Thronebreaker, didn't it? I used to play Gwent in the beta, but it kind of wore off on me. Which romance in Assassin's Creed Odyssey is your favorite and why? Generally I don't like the romances, they're usually doing favors for someone and then having a cut to black sex scene and then the end. So probably Alcibiades, even though he ends up marrying somebody else. But I think he's my favorite romance. Which class in Star Wars The Old Republic is your favorite? In terms of pure gameplay, the Sith Inquisitor. Story-wise, I think I prefer the Warrior a little bit more. Gwent or Dice Poker? Gwent. Do you wish to see more DLCs, stories for The Witcher 3, for instance, a wedding DLC for Geralt to marry Triss or Yennefer? Well, the obvious answer I suppose would be yes, I want more, but I think it's fairly well concluded, so I'm happy to leave it at rest, the way it is. What tips do you have for budding YouTubers? Let's see. Always make videos you enjoy making, but at the same time also ones that your viewers would like to watch. For example, I really enjoyed making videos about Thronebreaker, but I kinda slowed down and stopped because ultimately people weren't watching them. Keep an eye on your analytics, maybe not constantly, but at least from time to time to see what works and what doesn't. Don't give up if things aren't going very well, and I think that's it. I'm not sure you should be taking my advice though. If I knew the secret, I'd probably be celebrating 1 million now. Would you like The Witcher 4 having Ciri as the protagonist? Yes, why not? Especially if she goes to Nilfgaard. Do you think they might hint at a new Witcher game or have a secret mission related to The Witcher in Cyberpunk? Yes. Yes, I think that's likely. And finally, last question. Nice to see you here, Zaydam. When did you realize you had become a YouTuber? Oh, I don't know. Probably at about 1,000 subscribers. Which is much earlier than when I went full-time YouTube. I went full-time at about 10,000, I think. Basically, as soon as I had at least several people watching and commenting regularly on my videos. Any regrets? Probably that live streaming did not work out as well as I thought it could. Also, I suppose I regret I did not start making videos earlier. I wanted to, and I actually tried to back when I was 17 or 18 years old, but my computer was just terrible. I didn't have enough space for the large files that Fraps would create when you record, because that was the only recording software I could get my hands on back then. On top of that, I could barely keep 20 to 30 FPS while recording. It just wasn't working. Then I had a little better one, but it was a laptop, so I only started making videos when I got a decent enough desktop computer, and by that time I was 22, well, nearly 23 years old. So I think I'd probably be celebrating, oh, I don't know, maybe 500,000 subs, or at least 200,000 now, had I started back when I wanted to. And so we're done. Thank you very much for all of the questions. I hope my answers were satisfactory enough. I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing from you guys again in the future, and who knows, we might do another one of these Q&As soon if you guys enjoyed them. Speaking of enjoyment, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, and until the next one, thank you for watching, stay tuned and be good.